everyone. My name is Trevor Jackman. I'm with the Heartland Oracle User Group here in Omaha, and we are welcoming you to our first monthly community meetup. Today, we are lucky to have Hamza Maraj, sorry, who is from Oracle. He's the director of OCI engineering, and he's going to talk to us about the new developments in Oracle 26 AI and what's coming up in OCI and in Oracle AI throughout 2026. But before we do that, I wanted to give you some information about our upcoming events. This April, we are going to have our first in-person event in 7 or 8 years here in Omaha. And thanks to Oracle's and de novo sponsorship and Gallup sponsorship, that event is going to be free for us all to attend. It's an all-day event starting at 8 a.m. and we hope you can make it to Omaha to join us. We will have speakers and presentations about Oracle Fusion apps, about EBS, about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, about Oracle reporting and analytics, and about Oracle AI. We also will have some customer stories and success stories to share with you. And most exciting, we have some hands-on Oracle AI workshops for Oracle Fusion users. And the best way to stay informed and to participate is to register at the link that's coming up on your screen now. And through the link that's on our the Heartland OUG LinkedIn page, that will tell you how to get signed up and how to stay informed about as we get the agenda ready for the conference and for our upcoming community meetups as well. So with that said, I'm going to hand things over to Hamza Miraj from Oracle to tell us more about 26 AI. Hamza?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I'll do a very quick intro from our side. So again, Hamza Maraj, I lead a segment of our cloud engineering team here at Oracle North America. I also brought in James. James is one of my lead architects on my team that's actually going to be coming in also speaking. So I'll be covering more of kind of like the baseline OCI and kind of covering how we're kind of getting up to 26 AI. And then James is going to start to get into the more of a 26 AI details there. So just to kind of kick us off here, right? So I don't know how many folks are familiar with OCI as a whole, right? I think everyone is familiar with Oracle databases, 26 AI, 23 AI, right? All that good stuff. So OCI, and when you start thinking about AWS, Azure, right? OCI is Oracle's cloud infrastructure platform, right? And like what I like to call the motto of OCI, it's pretty much flexibility, right? So customers can really go anywhere that they want. They can go to Azure and deploy a compute instance or a virtual machine or a database, right? They can go to AWS if they want to, right? But what they do not get in a lot of those other cloud platforms is flexibility. So that's where OCI comes in and starts to bring a lot of that flexibility, right? So when we're getting into flexibility, what I mean by that is, one, there's price parity across all of our regions globally. So let's say if you spin up a database in Ashburn, that database is going to be the same price in Ashburn as it is in Serbia, as an example, right? Or it is in Frankfurt, as an example. Same thing for compute instances, virtual machines. Same thing for storage. So all of our services that are available on OCI, on our cloud platform, the prices have parity globally. So that's a big thing for customers when we look at flexibility, right? Same thing comes along is service parity. So when you look at Azure, when you look at AWS and GCP, a lot of their services are not available in all of the regions, right? So that's when OCI comes in and we say, hey, you don't have to think 5 times before you pick a home region or pick a region to subscribe to. We have service parity, so all services that are available in our, I'll call them our core regions as an example in Ashburn, Phoenix, those are also available worldwide, right? I will caveat that with, some services that are only in limited availability, right? Those are the only ones that we may start off in, like, let's say Ashburn or Chicago, but those will expand into all of the regions once they kind of get closer to GA. So what you're seeing on the screen here is, again, our global footprint. And one of the cool features about OCI is we can actually start a region in less than 3 racks, or I'll say as little as 3 racks, right? Versus other cloud providers, they need dozens and dozens of racks to be able to stand up a computer, sorry, to stand up a cloud region. So that's where you can see how we have so many regions available, and we also have partnerships with Azure, AWS, GCP, in our multi-cloud footprint, right, to be able to offer our database services and our networking services through like an interconnect, there as well. Lastly, we bring the cloud to you, right? So we obviously have commercial cloud that you're seeing all on the screen here, but we also have what we call as dedicated region, where we can actually bring all cloud services to your data centers, right? You can deploy OCI in your data centers, and if you don't need all of our services, and maybe you just need maybe some core compute and core Oracle database, we also have options for those as well. I'll move on to the next slide here. And folks, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them live. I want to make it kind of more informal. And if you have any questions, please feel free to add those in. And again, like kind of come back to my point, everyone knows Oracle for our databases, right? But again, OCI is a full-fledged platform. So we have services ranging from simple as database, some virtual machines, but also some managed services. So when we started getting into managed analytics, right? Like I think Tableau, managed integration services. We also have those as well. And obviously, from an AI perspective, we have Oracle's AI strategy is very simple, right? We don't have a LLM that we create, but we go out and get the latest and greatest from our partners, and we bring that to OCI, right? So you can bring your own LLM. You can get the latest and greatest GPUs if you like and do training on those, or you can go with more of a managed AI services, which are more of, think of like OCI Vision or document understanding, more prepackaged out of the box services that you all can use to kind of get into action really, really quickly. We have customers that are taking receipts as an example and converting them over to text, or taking different types of text formats and converting them over to text and utilizing them different ways. So that's kind of a high level Oracle's AI strategy, right? So core GPU, and then you have your managed AI services platforms that come in. Moving on, right? So one of the technical differentiators, and I'll say this is not all of our differentiators, a lot more, but one of them that I do like, and it kind of goes along with kind of like the motto I just said around flexibility, right? So when you deploy a VM in Azure, you deploy VM in AWS or GCP, you kind of get stuck in this what we call as t-shirt sizing, where if you need a specific number of cores and memory, you have to kind of find whatever t-shirt size that fits best, right? So for example, if you need a machine with 11 cores and maybe I'm going to think of some random number, 61 gigabytes of memory, you have to go and find kind of a shape that will fit the best to your needs. And a lot of times you may have to actually go up to a higher core count or a higher memory count just to be able to achieve the requirements you're looking to achieve. OCI changes that completely, right? So we have what we call as true flexible infrastructure. You can independently scale cores and memory independent of each other, right? With literally a slider, right? So if you need exactly 11 cores, you take that slider and you ask for 11 cores. You need 61 gigabytes of memory, you go and pick 61 gigabytes of memory, right? And that's across all of our shapes, right? From a virtual machine perspective, right? They're all flexible. You have the optionality to use Intel shapes. You have the optionality to use AMD shapes or even ARM shapes as well, right? So that's where we start really seeing a lot of savings coming for our customers, just because they don't have to oversubscribe even on the cloud, and they can go, and choose the exact number of cores of memory that they need, right? And we actually take that a step further. So we do that on the storage piece as well. So if you need exactly, 55 gigabytes of storage, you can choose 55 gigabytes of storage to start with and scale up from there, right? And then we also have what we call as performance volume. So what that means is, if you need a storage volume not to have a lot of performance, you can go with I'll call it lower performance option, right? If you need a storage volume to have a lot of IOPS, right, a lot of performance, you can go up to 300,000 IOPS if you like as well, right? So, the idea here is going to be you kind of pay for what you use, right? And when you pay for what you use, you end up saving a lot of money as well. Perfect. So this is kind of build slide, so I'll take a second and let it build out. But I think everyone knows Azure, everyone knows GCP and AWS, and they know when they're going to the airport or when they're going to get some lunch, right? Those are some of the services that are behind it. Now, I bet you probably didn't know this, right? Is OCI is actually all around you as well. So from the airports like to American Airlines, United, JetBlue, to even a lot of these video conferencing platforms such as Zoom, right? These all run on OCI. And I think all of you have probably taken an Uber as well. So Uber actually runs on OCI as well. They actually have a multi-cloud, so they're using GCP and OCI. But when you go to request that Uber, right, it is going through OCI. So this, OCI is everywhere. From airlines to video conferencing platforms to our telecommunications industries, right? We have all these big customers utilizing OCI and really seeing the performance increases, but also seeing the cost savings as well. And so I'll kind of wrap it up on my side and pass it over to James here. But at a high level, when we're looking at customers switching from AWS or even GCP and Azure, right, we are seeing an average of about 44% savings from their invoice on these other CSPs to what it is on OCI. I will say this is more of an apples to apples. Majority of our customers see a little more savings after they come on OCI because they can right size even further, right? Because you're getting the latest and greatest technology, latest and greatest shapes when you come over to OCI, right? You're able to take advantage of all those, right, and see even further savings come into play. So as you can see here, we've analyzed a lot of bills, a lot of invoices, and came up with a conclusion that look, we have customers saving an average of 44% from AWS. And again, this can absolutely increase as we start to discuss your specific use case as well. Perfect. So I'll stop here for a second. Are there any questions in the chat so far?
Something I see on here. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. No, there is one that came through. How does the breadth of services available on OCI compare to AWS? Does Oracle publish a roadmap for new services being made available?
Absolutely. So what I can do is I can share a link for all of our services after this call. That will, the breadth of services that OCI is going to be very equivalent to what AWS, Azure, and GCP has, right? Now, I will say this. OCI may not have a lot of some of the microservices. For example, I know AWS has like a call center service, right? OCI is not going to have that, but what we do is we take advantage of our partner ecosystem, and we have a full-fledged marketplace where we have partners that deploy their solutions on our marketplace, and you as customers can go in and deploy their solutions, right? So Oracle's strategy is, hey, like we're not going to build something we're not too good at, right? We're going to go out and we're going to get the best players in the game, get them to play on our marketplace, so our customers can reap the benefits of those big players that have a very big focus in those areas, right? So, but yeah, when we look at all core services, a lot of managed services, absolutely. Managed Kubernetes as an example, right? We have those as a one-to-one mapping, right? But then when we start to get some of those microservices, right, you'll see a lot of those be available on our marketplace with our partners, such as, let's say, Cloudflare as an example, right? Or Big 5 IP as an example, et cetera, et cetera. And we do have a roadmap, which I will share the details on. So we do have a very big roadmap for OCI, and when I joined OCI, I think we started with a handful of services, and now we have hundreds and hundreds. And I do imagine there are a lot more hundreds and hundreds of services that are on their way as well. Perfect. I will now pass it over to James. He's going to kind of walk us through 26 AI. Again, please have the questions coming, and we'll be more than happy to answer them as we go.
Awesome. Thanks for that great overview of OCI, Hamza. I want to shift gears now and get into the product that we're probably most well known for here at Oracle, and that's going to be the Oracle database. And specifically today, we want to talk about our newest installment of Oracle database with 26 AI and some of the new features that are brought there. With Oracle database, we've long had the platform as a converged database, allowing you to put not just your relational data in a database, but JSON text and additional data types there as well. One of those new features that comes along with 26 AI is going to be the ability to add vector data as the new data type. And we'll see here later in the presentation where that's really helpful for. That's going to be a key piece in AI development as we continue to move forward. What this has opened up is the ability to support more and more workload types. You know, as we've often seen, our OLTP, analytic, and streaming workloads have been sort of the bread and butter of Oracle database. But with the new data types that we've added, new features, we're seeing more and more IoT and AI and ML use cases and workloads being featuring the Oracle database. And that's all driven by these key features with this latest installment. The tool set has continued to grow for Oracle database. Some of these tools have been around for a while. Others are going to be brand new with this latest release, such as the AutoML features, allow you to run machine learning algorithms right inside the database. So no longer is there a need to go out and hire a full team of data scientists to run these algorithms. You can run them right within the database with a few clicks and get those outputs right there alongside your data without ever having to leave the database itself. We've expanded upon those developer tools by including more and more language support. So we'll always be a SQL first type database, but as developers continue to grow and build around Oracle database, we've had to feature more of these languages to allow that adaptation into their ecosystem without them having to change their current workflows, but being able to allow Oracle database to work within those confines that the developers are already using. And we've expanded on that even more with the flexibility of where Oracle database can run. From traditional sources such as on-prem and OCI to some of these new versions, new places that we can run it, such as within containers. Oracle database is really there to help with your developers and to make sure that they can be deployed wherever you need. These new features around the AI capabilities, and you know, the AI buzzword has been around for a while, and sometimes it seems like it's just a buzzword that's thrown onto everything. But with some of these new features in 26 AI, you can really see the development towards making Oracle database an AI-driven tool. These include features such as the vector search with LangChain, LlamaDex integration, and other LLM integrations to work seamlessly with these LLM tools that are becoming the forefront of everyday developer roles and expanding upon those for Oracle database uses. A few other things I'll touch on here are going to be the external tables for support with vectors, which allows you to bring in outside data such as data stored in object storage and query that with your vectors right alongside your application data, and the agentic RAG features. As RAG continues to be a very powerful tool to supplement LLMs, we needed to find ways to add on that. And with the new wave of agentic AI tools coming out, optimizing the database for agentic RAG is going to be key to really utilizing those tools, whether it's in an internal facing application that you're using to help your employees to some external ISV apps. The agentic RAG features have really driven the development around Oracle database. Now I want to dive into one of these specific pieces that we've talked about with the vector search. If we can flip to the next slide here, Hamza. The new advent of the vector data type in Oracle database, we have the ability to bring in some of these unstructured data types that we haven't had before. You know, traditionally, it's been pretty simple to bring your application data into a database. You bring that over, you can run your analytics on it, but that often has additional collateral that goes along with it, such as for a sales invoice. You might have some phone call audio in your CRMs or some interaction that happened on social media that you have tied to that. And all of that data has historically lived outside of your database. Other mediums such as images and videos, medical forms, that would go right along with what that application data that you have in your database. Those have often been siloed to other sources for storing them. With the introduction of vector data types, we can now bring the vectors for those data, those mediums, right into the Oracle database and put it beside your application data. Let's take a look now at what the vectors actually do and how that process works in an Oracle database. We can flip to the next slide. So with the new AI vector type, what this vectorization is going to do is take your mediums, whether that be a document, an image, or a video, and use an AI model to convert that into vectors. Vectors are going to be these numerical assignments of the medium that we're analyzing through the AI model and storing within the database. And that allows for the LLMs to search in a much more natural way for them. You know, they're great at being able to parse through data, but what they really excel at is computation. And as we convert these into numerical vectors, these searches can now be run and find similarities between documents. So whenever you have a document that might reference a certain customer's name or a certain product that your company produces, you can now have that vectorization of that document. So when you run a natural language search, you can find that information not only in the database, but references to that in the document. The same goes for images and videos. As the vectorization will go through and pull out all those numerical computations, we can now go through and complete semantic searches against that and pull out data. So if you had an easy example here would be a picture of a dog, and we had some application data that we had stored in our database about a dog, but how do we link that up to that picture? In the past, you'd have to go through, find all the pictures of that dog and put them into a folder and then create some informal link to it. With vector search, you're now able to pull all of that data straight from the vectorizations. It really streamlines the flow of pulling that data together and getting that right alongside your application data. Let me jump to the next slide here. I think this walks through that process just a little bit more. And really, as we store these vectors within the database, it improves not only on our ability to search for them, but it cuts down on the overhead of different tools that we're having to manage. With all of this stored in one central location, we can limit the amount of integrations we have, the places that we're having to search for data, and bring that all into one centralized location, creating a true data lake, with Oracle database being the main feature of that. So as a whole, the new AI vector data type is going to be very powerful when working with LLMs. And you know, as great as those tools are now, one of the key pieces is being able to bring in additional data to them. They don't know what they don't know, and they only know what they're trained on so far. So whenever you have some proprietary data, whenever you have some new data that you brought in, whether it be an image, a document, or a video, being able to store that alongside your application data is very powerful for utilizing these LLMs. Last feature I want to touch on here for 26 AI is going to be MCP, Model Context Protocol. As we continue to grow these AI applications, we're seeing them everywhere. And what that's caused is an ecosystem of different APIs that we're having to reach out to. So before, these LLMs would have to reach out to each API. Each API is going to have some different context to it, different requirements, and the LLM is going to have to interact with each one in a unique way. By implementing MCP within the Oracle database, we now have a unified platform for those API calls. And what that does is reduces the number of different iterations and integrations we're having to manage by reducing that into one MCP integration and letting the Model Context Protocol handle all of those different APIs, bring them all into one centralized location before breaching the LLM. We're seeing much more, not only much more performance gains in the LLM's responses, but also a huge cut down in the amount of overhead that we're seeing for development teams. We're reducing those integration points significantly with MCP and really bringing in the best performance that we can for these LLMs, giving them an integration point that is optimized for working with LLMs. One of the greatest examples that I heard for this, the greatest comparisons, was thinking about it like USB-C. You know, in the past, I had a different charger for my phone, a different one for my laptop, and my headphones. All of them had different chargers and ports. And with the introduction of USB-C, we started to standardize that down to one central port. And now I have one cord. I bring that single cord around. It works for my laptop, for my phone, for my headphones, and charge everything with it. The same theory would apply here with MCP. We're cutting down on the number of tools that you need to work with these cutting edge LLMs, and often also utilizing the performance gains that MCP brings to us. In whole, to wrap up here with 26 AI, there's tons of additional features that we didn't get to today. I think the best story we could tell is that 26 AI has really been optimized for these next wave of AI features and use cases that we're seeing. We'll continue to grow and expand on that feature set, but what we have now with 26 AI is setting us up for success to working with these AI features moving forward.
Perfect. Thanks, James. Folks, we can kind of stop here, take some questions. And, James and I can answer those lives. So, team, keep me honest on the questions as they come through.
Yeah, we have a question, guys. If a company already uses Oracle database, what does it generally take to move to 26 AI at a high level?
Yeah, I can take that one, and James, feel free to add on. The upgrade to 26 AI is just like an Oracle database upgrade. It is they've seen it in the past as well, right? So there's really no change, nothing special. They can like literally download the new update and install it. Now, obviously, there's going to be best practices they want to follow, such as testing it out on a non-prod or a development instance before putting it into production, just to make sure everything works. But yeah, the process is exactly how it has been in terms of upgrading Oracle database versions. And currently Oracle 26 AI is available on OCI and with our multi-cloud partners, right? So it is not available on premise. So if you do want to use 26 AI, you'll have to use it on OCI or our multi-cloud platform. But yeah, the upgrade path to that is simply just downloading it and updating your database to it. That's all.
I think one other thing I would add there is that we have a number of tools that can help with that as well. If it turns out you need to install a new 26 AI, we have great tools for migrating that data over, as well as our compatibility tools that can go through before your migration and take a look at all the data types you have, let you know if there's any potential issues when you're upgrading, so we can call those out and address those before. So as Hamza mentioned, I think those would fall under those best practices that that we'd have for upgrading.
Yep.
I just wanted to let you know there's some tools that can help you with that process as well.
Absolutely.
Can you give a few examples of how 26 AI could improve an application or day-to-day work?
Yeah, James, you want to kick us off there and I'll add in?
Yeah, I'll say one of the more common ones we're seeing as folks are getting more and more into the AI space and trying to test that out. One of the most common use cases that we see there is starting with an internal facing tool. And it would be something where you would have maybe your employee handbook stored in these vectors. And so what you would set up is a chat bot that would be referencing not just what it knows, but specifically those vectors that are stored in 26 AI. And so when somebody asks the question, such as how much PTO do I have this year, rather than having to search through that 100-page long employee handbook and go find the page and get to it, you can ask that question right away and it'll reference it right from the database. That's usually a first step that we see is some sort of internal tool like that, but customers are also taking that and featuring it in their external applications and putting that out to customers. So that's the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing is like you can talk to it in human natural language, right? So even for end users, but even for DBAs, right? When you can simply sit there and ask it, okay, hey, what were my sales last year versus this year, right? Yeah, I'm sure everyone has like analytics platform they can go to and figure all those things out. But if you can simply ask that in real time, or to James's point, you can ask things like, hey, what was my PTO? Look like for last year versus this year, right? So the biggest change here is that instead of having to write long queries to obtain data, you can talk to it in human language, which in my opinion just makes it easier for everyone, right? Whether you're a DBA, whether you are an analyst, right? I think everyone, even though writing queries is very fun, I'll say, right? I think everyone would love to just save a little bit of time and just ask it in simple plain English on, hey, what was my PTO last year, instead of having to write a query for it.
Yeah, no, that's one of the features that we didn't quite have time to mention here, but I'll expand on it a little bit. With Select AI, you can go right within the database, right within your normal SQL developer type in the web GUI, and be able to ask these questions and get the SQL output. So if you're looking for that query of what were my sales like in the state of Texas in Q4 last year, not only do you get a quick answer back from that, but you actually get that SQL that the LLM created to run against your database, and you can plug that right into your pipeline. So rather than having to write those queries, you can interact with this natural language, get your answers that you need, but also get the queries that you need to update your development pipeline. So again, it just really builds on those key LLM functions to help with our development in that day-to-day life cycle, making it much easier for our development teams.
Okay, great, guys. Well, thank you so much. We have gotten to the end of our scheduled time, so I wanted to hand it off to Trevor. Hamza, if we could go to that last slide, we'd love to share some information about an in-person event at the end of April.
Hi, it's me again. So, yeah, we want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm glad we got this wrapped up in 30 minutes like we planned. And thank you, Hamza and James, for all your information. I want to remind everyone again, like I said, that we are accepting registration for our April in-person event here in Omaha on April 27th. We would love it if you could make it. The QR code on your screen should take you to that registration page, and you can always go to the Heartland OUG's LinkedIn page for links to register for this event and for our upcoming community events. Our next community event should be in early April and will probably be about Fusion and applications. We would love it if you can join us. Thanks for being here today.